What's up guys, UKTransit here. Today I'm going to be showing you and telling you the do's and don'ts about riding on British trains. So this is more for tourists than train enthusiasts, but if you're a train enthusiast or a transport enthusiast, you can let me know in the comments if you agree. Some of these are my personal opinion, but most of them are just known. But I thought I'd share them with the tourists out there. So we got a Thameslink service just coming in. That's going to London Bridge, but we're getting on the next one after that, and that's the Peterborough, and we're getting off at Farringdon. But I'm also going to give you some action on the Metropolitan and Jubilee lines as well. So today I'm going to be filming on the Thameslink, the Metropolitan and Jubilee lines. So we're very close to London Gatwick Airport, so I thought this would be a good video to make. Passengers that have just landed at London Gatwick Airport or anywhere, as a tourist you might want these tips. The first one that I'd say is quite important. It's not really a do or a don't, but I would just like to mention that London Luton, London Gatwick, London Stansted and London Southend are not in London. London Heathrow is very close to London, and it kind of is in London but not in London as well. London City is in the centre of London. London Biggin Hill is a private airport, and that is also not really in London, but yeah. So London Gatwick Airport, which is the airport just over there, is in the London travel card zone. But yes, it's not actually technically in London. I guess this video is do's, don'ts and tips. I guess. That does make more sense. So I think the title of this video might be Do's, Don'ts and Tips of British Trains. Let's give you another tip, a do or a don't. When you're in London, if you need to stop for something, like if you're looking at your phone or if you need to look at a tube map, please go to the side. Don't just randomly stop. Everyone absolutely hates this in London, and you're not going to be liked if you do that. Like, seriously, just move to the side. Like, instead of randomly stopping and getting in people's way, people that need to get to the jobs, people that are in a rush. Lots of people in London are in a rush, unfortunately. So just stopping will annoy them. So just move to the side a bit. Just like, if you need to look at your phone, just move to the side. If you need to look at a tube map, like, kind of just move to where the tube map is. But like, don't just randomly stop. So another big one you're going to see in just a second is, you must, and this is quite a big must, you must let people off the train before going on to the train. It's polite, and it's just what we do, most of us anyway. The polite ones. My train is delayed by 1 minute. That's very soft. Oh, it's foam. This actually leads me to my next one, which I'll show you in a minute as soon as we get on the train. As obvious as it may sound, always remember to mind the gap between the train and the platform edge. Throughout this video there's going to be lots of explanations and demonstrations, so please stay tuned. Continue watching this video to see all the demonstrations and explanations. Here is my train taking me to Farringdon, terminating at Peterborough. You may have seen the gap between the train and the platform. That's completely normal. That's where it says, please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Obviously. Right, I'm going to sit down and stand today. So this brings me on to my next one. Food on trains. If you're sitting opposite someone it's quite rude, in my opinion, to like slap and to eat like not very nicely, unpolitely. So yeah, I was on a train a few months ago and a person was eating an apple and he was very inconsiderate, let's say. He was slapping like crazy. So just eat it normally, and if you can't eat it normally, then maybe don't eat. Not on the train anyway. So just keep your mouth closed, don't talk with your mouth full, and obviously don't slap or make noises, and you'll be fine. Some people just leave their rubbish there. That's not what you're meant to do, guys. There's bins on trains for a reason, and if there's not, keep it until you can find a bin. Let's take it to a bin. Another really big thing for me on trains is some teenagers vape and smoke, and it just makes the train smell horrible, and it's not a very fun. So please don't do that on trains. Smoking and vaping should not be done on trains, and it's also banned on London Underground. Also, don't be too noisy on trains because your neighbours, the fellow passengers, do not want to hear you. So obviously don't talk too loud, don't sin, because I've heard some people sinning on trains before. I've heard people talking very loud on trains before, and it's not great. If you're listening to something on your phone, or if you're playing a game, please make sure that you have headphones or something, as no one else wants to hear your noise.
London Blackfriars.
Another thing that I kind of disagree with and agree with at the same time is putting your bag on the seat next to you. Now, if the train is packed, then obviously put your bag in the overhead compartments up there on the overhead racks. However, if the train is not busy, like today, and if there's no one else really around, I don't see an issue with keeping your bag next to you. I guess it's more safe, and yeah, and that's what I personally do most of the time. So this train isn't very busy, so yeah, I just keep my bag next to me. As I said, when it's really busy, please like give up that seat for other people, because yeah, it's not very polite. Another big no-no for me is putting your feet on the seat. A, you're taking up more space, and B, it's just a bit disgusting, to be honest. Even if you do have socks on, even if you do have shoes on, it's still gross. And I think it ruins the seats a bit as well. I mean, I can kind of see that. I'm not too sure about that. No. Yes. Another thing that's my opinion is on these ones where there's 2 seats and then 2 seats. I feel like if you're sitting on your own, I don't think you should really sit in these seats. I mean, it's up to you, obviously, but I would normally sit in them seats rather than the 4 seats, if that makes sense. Just so groups with larger numbers can sit there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move back now. I know I said about litter and stuff, but also just clean up yourself after you do anything on trains. Like, look at that, it's just really dirty. Like, yeah, I know there's some stuff you can't just clean up, however there is some stuff you can control. Now we move on to priority seats. Priority seats are clearly marked the majority of the time. So you are allowed to sit in priority seats, especially if it's really busy. However, if there's someone in more need of that seat, that means you must give it up. So an older person, a pregnant person, or a person that might have a disability. And also remember that not all disabilities are visible. Another one is pretty obvious, but people still do it. I'm not saying tourists personally do it, but but some people do, some annoying people do, so I'm going to point it out. If you don't know, this is an emergency door release, so please do not pull it unless you're actually in need of help. And also please note that help can be delivered faster at stations. Just loads of people pull them just to be annoying, and I understand most tourists wouldn't do that, but I just wanted to point it out. Because I've been on a train before where someone's pulled one. I've also been on a train before where people have been eating really loudly, like I said before. And I've also been on trains where people just don't really care and they just put their bags everywhere, and there is actually people in that scenario. And I've also obviously been on trains where people smoke, people vape, it smells disgusting, and it's not good for the lungs either. I've also been on trains where people are playing music really loudly, people are singing, people are just being really annoying and really loud. I really do hope this video helps some people and also helps some tourists, because that's what it's designed for. Another big one is don't block the cab door with any of your luggage, because then the driver can't get out if there's an emergency, or just in general. Yes, most of the time there's other ways to get in and out of the cab, but sometimes there's not, depending on the train. On most trains you'll also find these luggage racks as well as the ones over your head. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video about Farringdon railway station, like explaining how to get from basically a station tour of Farringdon, because it's quite a confusing station in my opinion. Let me know if you want a full tour of Farringdon station. Let me know in the comments if you would like that video, and I'll explain how to get from the underground to Thameslink and everything else. It'll just be like a massive tour of Farringdon station, and I'll explain all the complicated things in a way that you'll hopefully understand. I'm going to move on to my next point, which again I don't think a lot of tourists would do, or any tourist for that matter. However, I'm going to point it out because it does happen. Vandalism. Graffiti, graffiti, graffiti. And if I tell you that this one isn't actually that bad compared to ones I've seen, yes.
We will shortly be arriving at East Croydon. Change here for other national rail and tramlink services.
If you see something that doesn't look right, speak to staff or text the British Transport Police on 61016. We'll sort it. See it, say it, sorted.
What was I going to say? Vandalism is never okay on trains, and in general. I hate it personally, and I think most train enthusiasts do, because you're damaging our trains basically, or you're not destroying them, but you're just making them not as great. So you're kind of ruining it a bit. But yeah, this is actually not that bad. I've been on a lot worse. Another SOS alarm. Remember, only use that when you need it. And remember that help can be provided quicker and faster at stations. Always flush, that's another one, always flush.
Sandy, St Neots and Peterborough.
Yeah, no, that. Yeah, no. I'm sure.
It's very busy with tourists. Please note that you don't always get these card tickets anymore. Sometimes you actually get like proper paper long tickets. Sometimes not even long, they're just like paper tickets, and they're not like this. So you actually have to like scan them. So yeah, I'm just letting all the tourists know that they don't always come like this, because they're actually phasing these out, I believe. So they're trying to use like the new design is paper tickets. So yeah, which I think is personally very annoying, because I like these ones. Another misconception is that some people think that London Underground isn't that frequent. So people that live in America, for example, tourists. Obviously in America, the tubes or subway system isn't that frequent. I think it's like every half an hour or something. But in the UK, it is quite frequent, so you don't need to worry about that. Like the Victoria line is like every 2 to 3 minutes or something. So most of them are quite frequent. So basically I'm telling you, or saying to you, you don't need to run for the London Underground.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
This station is London Bridge.
So as you saw there, what I said earlier, people get off and then people get on.
City 10.
Another prime example of people get off the train first and people get on. Another thing, make sure you're paying attention and that you don't bump into people, obviously. So don't be just staring at your phone and not paying attention. So all stations, Metropolitan line service to Uxbridge.
The train now approaching is an all station service to Uxbridge. Please stand back from the platform edge.
So yes, we're going to get on that train to Finchley Road.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
This is Farringdon. This is an all-station Metropolitan Line train to Uxbridge. The next station is King's Cross and Pancras.
If you want to watch a video where I reviewed every single sub-service line of the London Underground, click here and watch it after this video. So the same thing applies. If you're not in a big group, then don't sit on the seats there. Sit on one of these instead. So at the moment there's not a lot of people on this Metropolitan line service, so I can sit down and I can keep my bag here. However, if more people come onto the train, this is when I'll take my rucksack and put it on my lap. Again, the priority seats are clearly marked here.
This is Euston Square. This is an all-stations Metropolitan Line train to Uxbridge. The next station is Great Portland Street. The next station is Finchley Road. Change for the Jubilee Line.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Massive gap.
Train's ready to
This is my train, or tube. Let people off first, and then you get on.
These lines the gap between the train and the platform.
Look what I just found. I'm keeping that.
The next station is Cannons Park. Doors will open on the left-hand side.
Right, we're getting off here. So I did want to say that all of these tips, do's and don'ts, they apply on all trains. Like, obviously don't vandalise anything, but don't vandalise trains. Don't leave litter about. Just don't be noisy. And yeah, and if you follow these do's and don'ts and the tips, then you should be fine in London. So without further ado, this is UKTransit signing off from Cannons Park. Like, subscribe and leave any comments down below. I'll see you in the next one. Share the video if possible. Bye bye.